So today we are going to study about strain gauges. What is mean by strain? Strain is a force which is applied to a solid. If either it is a compressive force or tensile force, it may be compressive or tensile force. So we call it as a strain. When we apply a force to a solid at rest, it will be mechanically deformed to some extent. That means if we apply a compression to a solid, there will be some mechanical deformation to that material. If we apply a tensile strength on a solid material, the length of the solid will increase. Okay. Then if the force is compressive, either it is compressive or tensile, we call it as a strain, and it will cause some deformation in a solid material. Either it will increase its length or decrease its length. Okay. So we can there's some equations to measure strain. The longitudinal or axial strain can be defined as the ratio of change in length per a unit length. So it can be represented as epsilon, which is delta L by L, change in length by length, unit length. And longitudinal stress is also represented as sigma, which is a force per unit area. Force F applied on a unit area is represented as longitudinal stress, and longitudinal or axial strain is represented by epsilon, which is change in length per unit length, and force applied on a particular area is represented as longitudinal stress. Okay, and it can be represented as a Young's modulus by a Hooke's law. It explains that the ratio of this longitudinal stress to axial strain is known as Young's modulus. It's a constant, which is Young's modulus is a ratio of longitudinal stress by that axial strain. Okay, so when a length of a body is either elongated, we know that there will be some change in its dimension. Length, if we elongate a solid material, there will be a small decrease in its area and there will be some increase in length. So lateral strain is represented as change in dimension per its previous dimension. And there is another term, Poisson's ratio, which is represented as V, which is lateral strain by longitudinal strain. Okay. These are some terms to know how to express our strain. And now we have to study only the instruments which is used to measure strain gauge. So strain measurement is essentially a measurement of very small, about 1 micrometer displacement. അപ്പോൾ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു ചെറിയ സ്മോൾ ഫോഴ്സോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്ട്രെയിനോ ആണ് മെഷർ ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് മെത്തേഡ്സ് ആണ് ആദ്യം പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, സോ സം മെത്തേഡ്സ് യൂസ്ഡ് ടു മെഷർ സ്മോൾ strain or stress about 1 micrometer or up to 1 to 50 micrometer ഒക്കെ വരെ മെഷർ ചെയ്യുന്ന different methods. So these are the different methods. Either we can measure the strain by mechanical means or electrical means or optical means. Okay, so mechanical displacement can be measured by using some cantilever beams. And to measure the change in length after magnification, that means the cantilever may be extended or deformed by applying some force. So we can measure by mechanical means is by using cantilever beams. In earlier days, it is extensometer is used to measure the stress or strain. Many cantilevers are connected parallelly to magnify the strain so that it becomes a readable deformation. Okay, so commonly used method is electrical measurement method. Electrical property is changed by using stress or strain. So change in resistance property is used for measuring strain or stress. Okay, or inductance or capacitance change also can be used for measure the stress or strain, but commonly we use change in resistance property of the material to measure the stress or strain. So this method is electrical method. An optical method by using interference or diffraction or scattering property of a material by applying light waves. So that is optical method. So now we have to study only electrical transducers, the mainly commonly used method is change in resistance. Okay, so strain gauges, and the device used to measure strain is known as strain gauges. So most commonly used method for strain measurement is change in resistance or resistive strain gauges. Okay, so for a wire of cross-sectional area A, we know that the equation for resistance, commonly we define the resistance as ratio of resistivity and length to the area of that material. So R is equal to rho L by A, where rho is the resistivity of the material and A is the area of cross-section and L is the length of the resistance wire. So this equation, with this equation we can uh, explain that the resistance can be changed by changing either by changing resistivity or by changing length of the material or by changing area of cross section. We can change the resistance of a material. So a resistance of a material depends on the resistivity, length of the material and also area of cross section. So by changing any of this property we can change the resistance of a wire or any conducting material. So we can use it here. It's a strain gauge. We can use just a wire foil which is attached to a metal backing or paper backing, and we attach or bonded the strain gauge to a material whose strain is to be measured. നമുക്ക് strain measure ചെയ്യേണ്ട മെറ്റീരിയലിന് നമ്മൾ ഇതിനെ അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യും. So the same strain um, will be affected by this strain gauge also. Okay, so the basic principle of strain gauge is the stress or strain applied to the strain gauge will produce as a change in resistance. So the change in resistance is proportional to the applied force. Okay, so it's a circuit. Actually, the strain gauge is a passive material. It cannot give an output as an electrical voltage. So we have to connect that strain gauge as a arm of Wheatstone bridge. So ഒരു നോൺ സെൽഫ് ജനറേറ്റിംഗ് ട്രാൻസ്ഡ്യൂസർ ആയിട്ടാണ് ഇത് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുക. We have to use another external source to produce a corresponding voltage which is proportional to force or stress or strain applied to that instrument. So this is the strain gauge. The end of the strain gauge wire is connected as one arm of a Wheatstone bridge and we are applying a voltage across it. Okay, so initially there is no strain. So this Wheatstone bridge is at a balanced position. So the reading of this voltmeter is 0. So when we place this strain gauge on a material whose strain is to be measured, the force applied on a material. So that strain gauge is attached or cemented on our material whose strain is to be measured. So we bonded that strain gauge on the material, solid material. So when we apply a force on it, the same strain will be applied on this strain gauge also. Okay, all of you mute your audio. Okay, then when we apply a force on a solid material, we have already bonded the strain gauge on that solid material. So the same strain will be affected on this strain gauge also. So when when a stress or strain applied on a conducting material, a wire, it will be either elongated or compressed. So this elongation or compression will change the length of that conducting wire or change the area for cross section, or some deformation will cause change in resistivity of that material. So it results in change in resistance. So this change in resistance will produce a change in voltage here. So this voltmeter starts reading. So the voltage indicated by this voltmeter is proportional to the stress or strain applied on that solid material. So the wire filament is attached to a structure under strain and the resistance in the strained wire is measured by this Wheatstone bridge arrangement. Okay. Then the same thing here, when the wire is stretched or the cross-sectional area A is reduced, which causes the total wire resistance to increase. So in addition, since the lattice structure is altered by strain, the resistivity of the material also may change, and this in general causes the resistance to increase further. Okay. So to provide a means of comparing performance of various gauges, the gauge factor is used. Gauge factor of a strain gauge is the ratio of fractional change in resistance to fractional change in length. Okay. Delta R by delta L by L is the gauge factor of a strain gauge. Higher the gauge factor, the sensitivity of that strain gauge will be higher. Okay. So these are the commonly used material, constructional material of a strain gauge in commercially available materials and their gauge factors. Okay, so an advanced material is it is constructed by copper and nickel, and the gauge factor is 2 to 2.2. And nichrome means it is a composition of nickel, 80% nickel plus chromium, that is nichrome. Its gauge factor is higher than this material, 2.2 to 2.5. And pure platinum is platinum 100, which is approximately its gauge factor is higher, 4.8. And platinum has an advantage that it can withstand some temperature also. Higher temperature can be withstandable by this platinum material as compared to nichrome and copper nickel combination. And semiconductor type has higher gauge factor 100 to 200. But the semiconductor has some disadvantages that it is a negative temperature coefficient device. Negative temperature coefficient എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എന്താ? Just when we increase the temperature, when the surrounding temperature increases, its resistance decreases. So it's a higher sensitivity device, semiconductor, as compared to conductors. That are the disadvantages of this semiconductor type material. Then a strain gauge is a passive transducer whose electrical resistance changes when it is stretched or compressed. So based on this principle, the strain gauge is working when a stress or strain applied on a material, conducting material, its resistance changes. So resistance strain gauges are of three types: unbonded strain gauge, bonded strain gauge, and semiconductor strain gauge. Okay. So on first one, I'm going to explain unbounded strain gauge. Okay. Unbounded strain gauge is just a here you can see two foils are here. One is movable. There are two frames. You can see two frames. One hashed screen. This is one screen which is fixed one, and the inner there is a screen which is movable one. And the force or strain to be measured is applied on this movable screen. And there are four conducting wires connected here. You can see four conducting wires are connected here. This one and here. One frame is fixed. This frame is a fixed one, and this frame is a movable one. Okay, this one is movable one. So when we apply a force here, what happens? This frame will be moved in this direction. So either it is 1, 2. These two wires will compress, and these two wires, this 3 and 4, will extend. That means when we apply a force from right to left, this movable frame will move to this direction, and the wires, conducting wires 1 and 2 will compress, and 3 and 4 become tensed. So there will be a change in resistance on these four wires, and the change in resistance can be converted to a voltage signal by connecting these wires in a Wheatstone bridge arrangement. Okay, you can see here. It's just a first one is fixed frame, and next is inner side is movable frame. Okay. So this one is a movable frame. When we apply a force or stress to be measured on this movable frame, what happen? This frame will be moving and 1 and 3 will be compressed. When we apply a downward force, the movable frame will move to downward and the fixed frame will be there, and the wire 2 and 4 become compressed and 1 and 3 become have an effect of tensile strength. So when we connect these 4 wires as a V-stone bridge arrangement, as first wire, second, third and fourth are connected as a V-stone bridge arrangement, and we are applying a voltage across it, and there will be a change in voltage produced in the voltmeter connected in the opposite arm, and this change in voltage is proportional to the stress or strain applied on this movable frame. Okay, so this is the working principle of a unbounded strain gauge. Unbounded strain gauge consists of two frames with the 4 wires, and two frames are connected with the 4 wires. One frame is a fixed frame, and the another one is movable, and an input motion would be stretch wires 1 and 3, and it reduce tension in the wires 2 and 4. Okay, so motion in the opposite direction produces opposite force. When we move this frame in the upward direction, what happens? When the movable frame move in the upward direction, 1 and 3 become tensed and the wires 2 and 4 become compressed. So the motion in the opposite direction produces a reverse effect, and the wires are connected in a V-stone bridge arrangement, and with this type of transducer one can measure very small motions, and we can measure up to 0 to 50 micrometer displacement. Okay, 50 micrometer displacement also can be measured by using unbounded strain gauge. So a very more to measure very small forces we use unbounded strain gauges. To measure very small forces we are using these type of transducers. So these transducer may be used to measure force, pressure and also acceleration. Okay. So a set of preloaded resistance wire is stretched between two frames, one movable and the other fixed. As small motion of the movable base increases tension in in the two wires and while decreasing in the two others. And this change in resistance causes V-stone bridge unbalance, and the change in output voltage is proportional to the input displacement. And the next classification is bonded strain gauge. So strain gauges are of three types: unbounded, bonded and semiconductor type. So these are the bonded strain gauges. Bonded strain gauges are directly bonded to the surface or material, solid material being tested. Okay, whose for stress or strain to be measured, we bond that strain gauge to that metal surface or material surface. So transducer using bonded resistant gauges are widely used for measurement of several physical variables such as strain, force, torque, pressure, vibration. ഇതൊക്കെ measure ചെയ്യാൻ നമ്മൾ use ചെയ്യും. And these gauges may be metallic or metallic type or semiconductor type ആണെങ്കിൽ bonded strain gauges are again classified as metallic and semiconductor strain gauges. Okay. So if it is metallic type, in constructionally, they are wire type, foil type, like this. If it is a wire, these gauges having a paper backing. Just ഒരു പേപ്പറിൽ ഇതിനെ ഒട്ടിച്ച് വെക്കാൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Just we are pasting or cementing that wire foil on a paper backing and are cemented this bond. This one will be cemented to the surface whose stress or strain to be measured. നമുക്ക് സ്ട്രെസ് ഏതൊരു സോളിഡിന്റെ സ്ട്രെസ് ആണോ സ്ട്രെയിൻ ആണോ മെഷർ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് അവിടെ നമ്മൾ ഈ സ്ട്രെയിൻ ഗേജിനെ കൊണ്ട് ഒട്ടിച്ചു വെക്കും. നമ്മൾ അതിനെ സിമെന്റ് ചെറിയൊരു small thickness cementing കൊടുത്തിട്ട് we bond that strain gauge on the surface whose tension or stress is to be measured. Okay. And once we bonded or cemented the strain gauge on a surface, it will undergo the same stress or strain as that in this member surface. When we apply a force on this member surface, the same stress or force will be affected on this gauge also. Here we are attaching this gauge. When we apply a force on this material, it will affect the same force on this strain gauge also. Okay, so either it may be wire type or it may be foil type. Okay. You can see either bonded strain gauges are of three shapes. One wire type, and we are taking two leads outside, and these leads are connected to a Wheatstone bridge arrangement. It's a foil type, or it is a helical wire which is mounted on a small paper backing. Okay, so to end of this conducting wire foil, either it is a foil or wire, we are taking two ends to connect it into the Wheatstone bridge arrangement. സോ നമുക്ക് സ്ട്രെയിൻ മെഷർ ചെയ്യേണ്ട സർഫസിൽ നമ്മൾ ഇതിനെ പേസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് വെക്കും ആൻഡ് ഈ ഔട്ടർ ടെർമിനൽസ് എടുത്ത് നമ്മൾ വീസ്റ്റേൺ ബ്രിഡ്ജിന്റെ ഒരു ആമായിട്ട് കണക്ട് ചെയ്യും. സോ ദ വീസ്റ്റേൺ ബ്രിഡ്ജ് ക്യാൻ മെഷർ the change in resistance of this wire or foil and as a output voltage. So change in output voltage produced in the Wheatstone bridge will be proportional to the change in resistance of this metal. And the cause of this change in resistance is application of force or stress on this surface of the material. Okay. So we are connecting. Bonded strain gauges are also made of semiconductor material, usually either p-type material, silicon p-type material. P-type material means we are doped it with a p-type material, boron, or when we are doping with an arsenic, it is an n-type semiconductor. So we can use either p-type or n-type semiconductor as a bonded strain gauge. But the semiconductor type material have high gauge factor and small gauge length, which are the advantages. But the disadvantages are semiconductors have high temperature sensitivity and the output will be non-linear. Okay. So these are the different types of strain gauges. So strain gauges are of three types: unbonded strain gauge, bonded strain gauge, and semiconductor strain gauge. And these strain gauges can measure only small forces in the form of only micrometers of displacement can be measured by using this type of devices, strain gauges. So to measure a higher forces, we use load cell. Load cell is also used for measuring force or stress applied on a surface, but it can measure higher range of force in terms of Newton or kilonewton. Forces can be measured. Large forces can be measured by using load cells, but these strain gauges can measure only small forces or acceleration or small displacement. Okay, so load cells are of two types. Okay. Load cells are hydraulic load cell and pneumatic load cell. So the devices or transducers used for measurement of force are called load cells. Okay. So first we are going to study about hydraulic load cell. So this is the arrangement, hydraulic load cell. In hydraulic load cell, hydraulic pressure is used to indicate the force. Okay. A pressure indicator is used to indicate the force applied on it. Okay, so a chamber which is filled with a fluid, either usually we are using some oil as a fluid on this chamber. Okay, so we are already filled with this chamber is filled with an oil with a particular pressure. Okay, so that pressure can be indicated by this pressure indicator. Okay, and we closed this chamber by using a diaphragm. Okay, so when we apply a force which is to be measured on this diaphragm, we know that diaphragm will deform its structure when we apply a force on it. So when diaphragm deforms, what happens? The liquid filled in this chamber will get a pressure on it.